Yo, Kpaceguy here. Hey, welcome to Q&A with Kpaceguy. Don't know what episode we're on. I've done a lot of these, so if you haven't seen my other Q&A videos, definitely go down below to the description where I've made a playlist called Q&A of Kpaceguy, where you can see some pretty good and some pretty crazy questions that I've been asked that I openly answer on video. We're gonna do that here today. We're getting right into it. We're gonna start off with LA Spaceboy. He asked 3 questions. Number 1, who in the home theater YouTube community have you met that was super nice? Obviously, the easy one is Youthman. I met him back in late June for M-Wave. That was cool, but I also met a lot of other YouTubers at M-Wave that I can't even remember their channel names. There's so many people that I met. You guys know who you are. If I said hello to you, it's because I think you're a cool person. So there's a lot of people that I met at M-Wave that I can't even name. Simon, who works at OSD Audio, he was awesome. He's really cool. I've actually worked with him before I met him, so to see him there is really cool. So I've met a lot of people in the home theater community or the YouTube community that everybody's truly really nice in this community, to be honest with you. So thanks to you guys for being great people. Number 2, he says, besides home theater, what other genres do you enjoy watching on YouTube? Well, all I do is watch YouTube. A lot of it's about cars, car modifications, fast cars, whatever. I watch a lot of crime scene type of shows too on YouTube. I like playing Call of Duty, so I watch a lot of competitive Call of Duty, Optic Gaming, Toronto Ultra, whatever. So I like watching competitive COD, and I follow a little bit of competitive Halo, but I watch a little bit of everything on YouTube because, again, that's all that I watch. Number 3. If you didn't use a projector in your theater, what would be your go-to TV right now and why? I am 100% on the LG bandwagon. I've had an LG OLED TV since LG made OLEDs, and I have not bought anything else. So all my TVs have been LGs for the last over a decade or so, whatever. And for my home theater, if I'm gonna use a TV, it has to be an OLED for me because I'm so used to the picture quality you get. So LG OLED, but I'm not necessarily stuck on LG. I will be happy to have anybody else who makes OLED because I just love OLED. Of course, I'm using a 103 inch screen right now in my home theater, so I need to find a TV that's that size. So if I was to buy a TV right now, it'd probably be a TCL of some sort because they make really big 4K and 8K TVs, and so I don't want to spend a lot of money if I was to change it. So, but LG is my go-to brand. Samsung is my second. Number 4, lastly, if you had to make a dish to impress, what would you make? I always make burgers and steaks. I love both, and I make really good burgers and I make really good steaks. I actually have a video of me making my girlfriend a burger for the first time ever. Blew her away. 10 out of 10. Chef Miller, today I prepared for you a dish. This is my famous Kpaceguy burger with 2 special seasonings on the top. I did toast the buns for you, butter on the outside, slightly toasted, should be a soft center. And then instead of going with regular cut fries, I did go with curly fries. They are pre-seasoned, but I add a little touch of seasoning on them for myself. Please enjoy my meal.
No sauce for the ketchup. Wow.
As far as condiments go, I did add some pickles there. There's mayonnaise and ketchup underneath, as well as my handcrafted single cheese slice there. Please enjoy. Start with the fries first. Chef, before you say anything on the fries, the oven suggested to me. The oven said,
Oh, I gotta tell you about these
no,
fries.
wait, Chef, let me say something, Chef. It was a...
I'm eating.
Continue eating, Chef. Chef
You
Miller.
want to know what I've got to say about these
Chef
fries.
Miller, let me tell you what happened. The bag said...
What happened?
The bag said...
This is dog food.
The bag said to put them on for 10-15 minutes. Unfortunately, 5 Chef. And I put them in for 30 minutes. They still never got crispy. It's no longer an operational error. It is the stove itself, Chef.
Dog food.
Chef, please try the main course, the burger. Moving on.
What degree did you cook the burger?
The degrees were at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, Chef. Flip several different times to keep from burning. No pink in the middle, but should still be juicy, Chef. Who's a joy?
Better keep that animal with me.
Delighted, aren't you, Chef? Okay. Chef, does it slap?
I have to.
You get another corner piece there? Sure.
Come here.
Well, it slaps. Let's go, Chef. Thank you, Chef. Appreciate you. All right, so this user TP5CO4TJ40, he asks, why don't you have a dog? Well, to be honest with you guys, I really hate dogs. I can't stand them. Oh, they bark. They're never quiet. So I don't know. I'll probably never have a dog, honestly. I can't stand dogs. What do you guys think? Yeah, I agree. Next person, Boxer P, asks a really good question. He asks, how complete is your system? Are there any upgrades that you are interested in? My system is 100% complete in terms of my happiness. I am thoroughly happy with what I've achieved in my system, but I will of course upgrade it in the future. Eventually I'm gonna wanna try new speakers. Eventually Anthem's gonna make a better processor, or somebody else will, or there'll be better amps, or maybe I'll be fortunate enough to have gear given to me that I think is better than my own. So I'll always change things. But every time I walk into my theater and turn it on, I am ear to ear grinning, happy, no problems. I'm always tweaking, making things better, moving things around, but I love what I have, and I always have. Even when I've upgraded it, I've always loved the speakers that I got rid of. So it's 100% done in terms of where it's at, but of course I'll make some upgrades. What I do want to do is get one more Rythmik G25 HP subwoofer. I have one, I've made my own. I want to get one more actual from the manufacturer, and then I'll be happy. And then I think I want to do, what else would I want to do to it? I think I'm happy otherwise. The next big upgrade will be new speakers, but the Kefs have been so good for me that this is the longest that I'll have a speaker for whatever period of time, are the Kefs. So pretty happy, really good question. This one is from JR Ho5QM. I hope I'm saying that right. JR, he asks, are you keeping the Sirwin Vega speakers, and could you consider reviewing the $265 LA165s? I got rid of those speakers the moment I made the review. They are gone. I don't have any purpose for them, but they were so impressive to me that I don't mind reviewing the LA165. So stay tuned for that video. Jason Sullivan 8001 says, hey, do you have any problems with your ultra short throw projector sitting on your center channel? That's kind of a good idea. Well, it's the only idea that I have because it has to be placed in the same spot, but I've had zero problems. It's just a shelf, essentially. No issues. I don't have any vibrations or balance issues, although my center channel sits on a stand and my stand is not straight. So it really took some work to get my projector straight even when my stand wasn't. So I actually have a plan for that. I will be building a shelf, a center console for my home theater to where my bookshelf speaker or my center channel will be underneath that shelf. On top of the shelf will be my projector. It will be cooler than it sounds. So stay tuned for that. But how it sits, it looks fine. Most people don't even realize that my projector is there because it looks like just one big center channel speaker. So it's cool, kind of hides away. The next question here is from Darth Gerald 1970. He says, I recently found out that by using the audio out from our 4K player directly to the receiver and the video out directly to our 4K TV produces a better picture and sound. What's your opinion about direct input straight from the source? So what he's saying, most people today have their HDMIs all plugged up to their receiver or maybe their sound bar, so you can switch inputs right from one source. So that means that, let's say I have a Blu-ray player, a receiver, and a TV. My Blu-ray player is plugged up to my receiver, and then my receiver is plugged up to my TV. He says, instead of plugging your Blu-ray player to the receiver, then the receiver to the TV, plug the Blu-ray player straight to the TV, and then plug the audio only to the receiver. He got a better sound and picture. How do I feel about that? I fully believe you. The reason why is because the more things in between your source, the more lag time there is, latency, the more jitter, the more handshake you have to have, right? So if you can get A to B without having somebody in the middle, it's a faster connection. And so you probably increase your bandwidth speed from that HDMI to your TV, not going through your receiver. Of course, the receiver has to process it, then send it out. You're eliminating that extra bit of processing. So yeah, you probably do have a way better sound, not a way better, but a noticeable better sound and a noticeable better picture, eliminating the source. A lot of Blu-ray players nowadays have their audio out dedicated. So you can have your picture going to one and audio out for another. That's exactly the reason why manufacturers like Panasonic or Sony do this in their Blu-ray players, so that you can get the absolute best high fidelity out of your system that way. I personally don't do that. I love the picture quality enough where I'm okay, whatever little degradation that comes from having a source in the middle between the two components, I'm okay with it, to the point where I choose convenience having everything in one place than having multiple. I have to change the inputs on TV now. So it is what it is. I think you're probably right. You do get a better sound and better picture, but for most people, the convenience of having everything in one place overshadows having a slightly better picture and a better sound. But really cool that you found that out. So this is a really good question from Super Steam Engine. He asked, "Hey Kpace brother, are you able to answer the difference between test tone levels and options? Channel level adjust. I know it's for the source level, but if Odyssey sets a channel level and we are going inside channel levels and adjusting differently, is that overriding all the global settings / sound output? For example, Odyssey sets the subwoofer to -7, channel level to -2, so overall the value gets changed and sounds different, right? So is it best to leave everything at 0 or default? Thanks in advance and keep up the good work." Thank you, I appreciate it. So what he's asking basically is that when you run calibration, your calibration system is going to try to make everything as correct as possible. Distance, your levels, your phase, your crossovers. It's going to try to do all this stuff for you so that you don't have to do it, but it's always good to go in. Let's say, for example, like he said, let's say you have a subwoofer, it's set to -7, but it's not quite loud enough, and you up it to -2 or +3. You're changing what Odyssey had set for you. Are you just changing simply the levels, or does that affect everything that Odyssey did? Well, it's hard to answer that question because there are softwares out there where if you change something in the system, you do change the parameters with it. I don't think Odyssey does. So if you go into your subwoofer and you want to change the volume 3-4 levels, you can. It's not going to affect the phase. It's not going to change the crossover point. It's not going to change anything about your main speakers. Your sub will be louder, and now the blend might be different because the goal for Odyssey and most calibration systems is to make sure that everything is the same level in the eyes of your calibration system. If you think that the sub's not loud enough, that may be true to you, but it may not be true to the graph that your system tried to create. So you do change your blend and your conversation with speakers, but not the overall scheme of things. So if I go into my receiver and I want to change my crossover on my front speakers, let's say they set my front speakers to 80 Hertz and I want them at 60 Hertz. What does that do to the system? Most of the time, nothing, right? Everything else will still play the way that Odyssey had set it, even if you change 1 or 2 things around, but it does change the whole scheme of things. Maybe there was a really bad peak at 60 Hertz. So Odyssey changed your crossovers to kind of negate that. But if you change it, you may be, You may be erasing what Odyssey tried to do, which was, get rid of a null or fix a peak for you. You may introduce something bad in your system that was once taken away. It's hard to say. The only way you can really know what's going on is if you do your own graphs. Luckily for me, I have Anthem. It tells me a lot, but I also have Room EQ Wizard and a mini DSP, so on and so forth. So I have the ability to run my own measurements and physically see what's going on a graph, so I know what's correct and what's not. So while you can go in and change things with generally no problem, there are sometimes ways where you can mess things up and completely mess up your sound. In that case, rerun calibration and then either leave it alone or don't make that same change, start with smaller increments. So really good question, never been asked that before, but a lot of people may not know that. Symphony X Audio, he asked, what's the best sounding audio system you've heard anywhere? So where I heard this audio system was at M-Wave this past June. What the system was the Martin Logan room. They had their electrostatics all over the place, and then they had their newest 12-inch sealed subwoofer. That is the best sounding system that I have ever heard. Even over the Kef blades that I heard in a showroom. I like the electrostatics better, but they were huge. I don't even know how much they were, but they had an Anthem AVM 90, I think, paired with their amplifiers, their matching amplifiers, and then had a full system. And we were listening to music, and that is hands down the best system that I've ever heard. And what was most impressive about it was the separation. Although it was in a massive room, the separation was incredible, but the bass was so good. I've never been more impressed by a subwoofer in the way it sounds than I was with those Martin Logans. So hands down, that's the system that I would love to even just own. That was incredible. I never heard the electrostatics outside of the small ones in a Best Buy. So to hear these giant, massive towers with these really powerful sealed 12-inch, dual 12-inch subs, I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'll never forget that experience. All right, so similar question here from Steve McNeely. He says, what are the most expensive speakers you've listened to, and did they sound better than less expensive speakers? So the most expensive speakers that I listened to were probably the Martin Logans I just mentioned in the last clip, but the Kef blades were $25,000 per speaker, I think. And then I think the Martin Logans were a little bit more than that. I don't remember. But those two are the most expensive speakers I listened to outside Klipsch La Scalas that I heard, and then some other paradigms. So I've heard a lot of expensive speakers before, and they 100% sounded better than a $5,000 speaker, $6,000 speaker, and then sub those amounts. Yeah, obviously, right? The reason why they sounded better is because they're truly full range. You can literally not have a subwoofer and think there's a subwoofer. But a lot of these speakers are powered. You can plug them up, right? They need to be plugged up to get that extra power that a receiver or an amplifier that you know can't really handle that. So they sounded way better because of the bass, obviously, but the size of them, they're massive. So the imaging, the wall of sound you get, the pure sound pressure level they can reach, you're not getting that in a speaker that's $8 grand, $7 grand. It's just not going to happen the way that a 30 grand, 40 grand speaker can. Once you get past that point in price, I think it's super diminishing returns. But compared to less expensive speakers, they definitely punch well above those speakers. So there's your answer there. Fat Folks Production says, when are you two getting married? Bet you didn't see that coming. When am I getting married? I've been with my lady for 2.5 years, and we've gotten serious enough where we have the conversation, I wonder where we're going to get married. Where do you want to get married at? What kind of ring do you like? We're there, right? So I'll probably be engaged, if not the end of the year. It could be maybe winter time, springtime. It just depends. If she can stay off my nerves for 3 months straight, I'll consider it. How about that? There you go. The last couple questions here. Actually, the last one here is from Carl Van Doren. He says, do you belong to a local audio club? I don't belong to one, but I am in a lot of audio home theater Facebook groups. So if you're in any of these, I'm probably in there with you. He says, have you ever been in a pro-treated room? Unfortunately, no. I have not been in one. And I want to experience it because being in a really well-treated or even an overly treated room is a weird experience. So walking into a room that's super treated can really throw you off because you don't get that natural echo that you get in a house or wherever. So I do want to go in one. That would be pretty cool. He asks, how do you listen to music? A lot of my music listening, which is just like you guys, is actually in the car. I spend so much time in there that I have a pretty high-end audio system in my car too, and I listen to a lot of my music that way. I listen to new music through social media, Instagram, whatever. I discovered new music that way, then download it on my Tidal app because I love Tidal, and then I listen to it in the car. And if I think it sounds really good, I'll take it home. And then when I listen to music at home, I actually do sit in a chair in my sweet spot, and I listen and I think, and I do this whole little thing, kind of like I do in my videos. So I listen critically a lot, especially because I like to tell you guys about speakers and stuff. So I listen to music mostly in the car. If I really like the song, I'll come back home and I'll sit down and really indulge. Last one, that might be the last one. Oh, here you go. Do you mood listen to music? Absolutely. All my life I have. I was a music major, but I loved music before college. Whatever my mood is decides what I'm going to listen to. A lot of it ends up being gospel, R&B, a little bit of pop music, whatever. Sometimes I'm having a really good day, it's sunny, I'll roll the windows down, there's hip hop. So it really just depends on my mood, what I'm going to listen to. So truly, what I listen to is mood based. Let's see. Do you spa with sleep watercolors evenings, rock and roll, rap daytime? No. Like I said, whatever my mood is, we're good. Do you subscribe to Sirius XM and Qobuz? No, and no. I don't listen to Sirius Satellite Radio at all because I prefer to listen to Tidal because I want to listen to my mood. But I do like XM Radio. It does sound pretty decent, but that's usually in the car. I don't listen to that at all in the house. And Qobuz, because I have Tidal, I don't listen to Qobuz either. So there you go, guys. Those are the Q&A questions with Kpaceguy. We do this every 3 or 4 months, maybe a little bit longer than that. So if you missed the bandwagon this time, definitely check back in a few months where we'll do more questions and answers. And of course, if you ask me questions in my videos in the comment sections, I will always answer them back. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for all those who asked a question. Otherwise, if you did it, make sure you subscribe, hit that comment button, hit the like button, hit all the buttons, and we'll see you in the next video. Kpaceguy out. Peace.